Ladies, I want you to hear me clearly. If a man craves you, but he's silent, don't get it twisted. That silence doesn't always mean he doesn't want you. Sometimes silence is louder than words. See, men are built differently. A man's silence can mean one of many things, and if you don't understand it, you might misinterpret it, and worse, you might sell yourself short. You see, women are natural communicators. Y'all want to talk it out, you want to connect, you want to know where this thing is headed. But a man, when he feels deeply, sometimes he goes into himself. He gets quiet, not because he's lost interest, but because he's figuring out how to show up for you. When a man goes silent, most women immediately assume the worst. You think he's not interested, or maybe he's pulling away, or he doesn't see you the way you see him. But here's the thing. Silence doesn't always mean disinterest. Men are wired differently. They don't process emotions and relationships in the same way women do. For women, communication is the bridge to connection. You feel loved when he talks, when he shares, when he lets you in on what's going on inside. But for men, silence is often how they think, how they process, and how they deal with emotions they can't immediately put into words. See, when a man craves you, when he really desires to be around you, he may not always show it in the way you expect. You may be looking for daily affirmations, text messages, or constant reminders, but some men don't express themselves verbally. Instead, they show interest in quieter, subtler ways. It might be the way he looks at you when he thinks you're not paying attention, or how he finds small excuses to be around you. Silence is not the absence of care. It's often the space where his feelings grow. It's important to understand that men often retreat into silence when they're trying to make sense of what they're feeling. Emotions can overwhelm them, and instead of spilling it out, they withdraw. This doesn't mean they're ignoring you. It means they're figuring themselves out. A man can crave you deeply, but if he doesn't know how to articulate it, that craving won't come out in words. Women sometimes confuse that with lack of interest, but in reality, his silence could mean he's more invested than you realize. He's just not ready to verbalize it. Silence can also be a man's way of protecting himself. Think about it. Opening up, being vulnerable, and expressing desire leaves him exposed. What if you don't feel the same? What if his craving for you isn't returned? Many men fear rejection so much that instead of speaking, they hold it inside. They'd rather stay quiet and safe than risk putting their emotions out there only to be hurt. That's why a man who craves you might be the very same man who avoids saying it out loud. Another layer to this silence is the idea of control. Sometimes when a man feels too strongly, he holds back because he doesn't want to move too fast. He wants to take his time, pace himself, and not let emotions run ahead of reason. Craving you might be powerful, but if he feels it too strongly, silence becomes his brake pedal. He's trying to balance what he feels with what he can handle. In his mind, silence isn't absence, it's strategy. Women often misinterpret this silence because they measure interest by words, by conversations, by verbal confirmation. But men live in action. A silent man who craves you will often reveal it through consistency, through effort, through the things he does rather than what he says. If he keeps showing up, keeps making time, keeps finding little ways to stay connected, his silence isn't disinterest, it's his unique language of care. The shocking truth is that silence isn't a lack of love. It can actually be proof of how much he feels. A man who doesn't care won't stick around. He won't show up. He won't crave your presence. But a man who craves you and stays silent may be fighting battles inside himself, battles with pride, with vulnerability, with fear of not being enough. His silence, in many cases, isn't rejection at all. It's an unspoken form of desire, one that takes time to break free into words. When a man is quiet, it doesn't always mean he's avoiding you. Sometimes it means he's preparing himself. Men often carry a deep sense of responsibility about who they want to be before they fully commit to someone they truly crave. A man who desires a woman doesn't just want to be next to her. He wants to be the man she can depend on. That requires preparation. His silence, in many cases, is him working on himself behind the scenes so that when he steps forward, he feels ready, confident, and strong enough to stand beside you. Men are raised to believe that they should provide, protect, and lead. This mindset doesn't disappear when emotions come into play. So even if he craves you deeply, if he feels like he's not financially stable, not emotionally mature enough, or not mentally at peace, he'll hold back. That silence is him taking time to figure out how to become the man he believes you deserve. It's not that he doesn't want you, it's that he wants to be enough for you. Many women misunderstand this and think his quietness means indifference, when in truth, it's often a sign of respect for what he feels. A man's preparation phase can show up in many ways. He may throw himself into work more than usual because in his mind, financial stability is tied to his worth as a partner. He may distance himself a little because he doesn't want to make promises he can't yet fulfill. He might stay quiet about his feelings until he knows he has something concrete to offer. To him, speaking too soon feels premature. Silence, therefore, becomes his way of buying time while he builds the foundation of the future he envisions with you. Another part of preparation is emotional readiness. Men aren't always taught how to express emotions. So when they encounter feelings as strong as craving, it can shake them. They may need time to process what that desire means and whether they're capable of handling the responsibilities that come with it. His silence may be the pause he needs to align his heart with his actions. He doesn't want to just say he craves you. He wants to show you through commitment, consistency, and the ability to stand firm in the relationship. This silence as preparation isn't about ignoring you. It's about protecting you from half measures. A man who is still figuring himself out knows that if he jumps in too soon, he might fail you. So instead of rushing, he waits, he works, and he prepares. It may feel frustrating on your end because you crave clarity, but his quiet effort could be proof that he's serious about giving you something lasting. Men often reveal their preparation through subtle actions. He may not confess his feelings outright, but you'll notice he asks about your dreams, your values, and your long-term goals. He's gathering information, aligning his own life with the possibility of building one with you. His silence may not be empty. It's filled with thought, planning, and the desire to be intentional when the moment is right. The truth is, when a man craves you and stays silent, it doesn't always mean he's avoiding you. Sometimes it means he's building himself for you. He wants to bring stability, not chaos. He wants to walk into your life as a man you can respect and trust, not one who crumbles under pressure. His silence is the workshop where he sharpens himself. So when he finally speaks, his words are backed up by the strength of his actions. When a man craves you, it's natural to expect him to show it. You look for calls, messages, expressions, or clear steps that tell you where you stand. But craving by itself doesn't mean anything without action. A man can desire you in his heart, think about you constantly, and even dream about what it would be like to have you in his life. But if he never takes the steps to make it real, that craving remains nothing more than a fantasy. Craving without action is not love. It's an emotion, not a commitment, and emotions alone cannot sustain a relationship. This is where many people, especially women, get caught up. You may sense his attraction. You may feel his energy when he's around, and you may even notice small hints that he likes you. But if those hints never turn into pursuit, effort, or consistency, you're dealing with someone who enjoys the idea of you more than the reality of showing up for you. That difference matters. A man who only craves you in silence is protecting his own comfort while leaving you in confusion. He gets the thrill of wanting without paying the price of commitment. Love requires movement. It requires courage, effort, and proof. A man who truly wants you will not be content with just imagining what it's like to have you. His craving will push him to action, because desire without movement turns into regret. That's why craving alone is not enough. If he feels something for you, he needs to call, show up, plan, and invest time into building something tangible. If he doesn't, then his silence tells you everything you need to know. He may crave you, but he's not ready to love you. A man who craves you but never takes action is essentially keeping you in his mental fantasy world. You become someone he dreams about when it's convenient, but not someone he's willing to sacrifice for in real life. That's not fair to you because your time, your energy, and your emotions are too valuable to be tied to someone's imagination. You deserve someone whose actions match his words, whose pursuit matches his desire, and whose commitment matches his craving. Sometimes men stay stuck in craving because it feels safe. Fantasizing doesn't require risk. It doesn't require vulnerability, rejection, or responsibility. But stepping forward to claim you, to pursue you, and to commit, that takes courage. And that's the dividing line between a man who is serious and one who is not. Silence may protect him from rejection, but it also exposes his lack of readiness to step into something real. That's why craving without action should never be mistaken for love. Love demands proof. It's also important to realize that craving without action often keeps women waiting. You might hold on to hope because you can feel that he likes you, and you think that eventually he'll act on it. But weeks, months, even years can pass, and you'll still be stuck in the same place, hoping for him to move. That's how women waste precious time, by confusing desire with devotion. The truth is, if a man truly craves you and values you, he won't let silence be the only answer. He will eventually step up because he knows that someone else could come along and see your worth while he's still lost in his imagination. A man who only craves but never commits shows you that he's not ready for more. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. It means his desire is weaker than his fear, his excuses, or his inability to act. Don't mistake craving for care or silence for depth. Real love will always reveal itself through consistent actions, not silent fantasies. The man who truly values you will not be satisfied imagining you. He will move mountains to make sure you are his reality. Men carry a deep sense of identity in being providers and protectors, and this shapes how they handle relationships. When a man craves a woman, that craving collides with his inner desire to be someone she can rely on. He doesn't just want to be admired for his feelings. He wants to be respected for his ability to take care of what matters. This is why many men go quiet when emotions run high. They want to make sure they can back up their feelings with the role they believe they are supposed to play. Until he feels capable of protecting and providing, silence can become his shield. From childhood, most men are taught that their value lies in what they can do rather than what they can feel. They grow up hearing phrases like, "Be a man," "Don't cry," "Take care of your family," and those lessons sink in deep. By the time a man is grown, the idea of being a protector and provider isn't just a role, it's part of his self-worth. So if he craves you but feels unprepared to meet that role, his instinct is not to confess but to step back. He won't say the words because in his mind, words without the ability to provide are empty. This can be frustrating for women because your perspective is often rooted in love, connection, and emotional partnership. You may be willing to grow together, to build with him, and to face challenges side by side. But for many men, love without the ability to provide feels incomplete. It's not that they don't value your support, it's that they don't want to feel like a burden. So they hold their silence, hoping to reappear stronger, more stable, and ready to meet the responsibilities they associate with being a real partner. Craving you without being able to provide may feel like failure to him. He doesn't want to show up half ready. He doesn't want to let you down. That silence is his way of hiding vulnerability, of shielding you from the truth of where he thinks he falls short. Some men will work harder, pushing themselves in their career, their finances, or their personal growth, trying to build the life that makes them feel worthy of you. In those cases, silence is not avoidance, it's focus. It's him grinding in private so he can present himself with confidence. But not every man uses silence constructively. Some stay quiet because the role of provider and protector intimidates them. They crave you, but also fear the weight of responsibility that comes with real love. For them, silence becomes a safe zone. They don't have to face rejection, and they don't have to admit they aren't ready. Instead, they linger in the background, keeping you close enough to feel desired, but not stepping forward to claim you. This kind of silence isn't about preparation, it's about hesitation, and it leaves you stuck waiting for him to become someone he may never choose to be. Understanding this dynamic helps you see silence in a new light. A man who craves you but stays quiet may be telling you that he's in the middle of becoming. He wants to be the man who protects your heart, who provides stability, who makes you feel safe in his presence. But he's battling with his own insecurities about whether he can live up to that role. His silence isn't rejection. It's an internal struggle between who he is now and who he wants to be for you. At the same time, you can't let his silence keep you waiting forever. While it's true that some men stay quiet because they are building themselves, others use it as an excuse to avoid commitment. The difference lies in his actions. Does he show effort in improving himself, in becoming stable, in proving he is dependable? Or does he simply stay silent, offering no progress, no pursuit, no sign that he's preparing for a future with you? His craving must eventually turn into consistency, or else his silence means he's unwilling to embrace the role he knows he should. A man who truly values his role as a provider and protector will eventually break his silence because his craving won't let him sit still. He will show you through actions that he's serious about creating a safe and stable space for you. If he doesn't, then silence becomes a mirror reflecting his fear more than his love. And you deserve more than fear. You deserve a man who steps up, not one who hides behind craving and silence. Silence can feel like the most confusing response when you know someone craves you. You see the signs. He lingers when you're around. His eyes follow you. His energy changes in your presence. But then comes the quiet, the distance, the lack of expression. This is where many women wrestle with uncertainty because silence can have two very different meanings. On one hand, it can be preparation, the space he takes to build himself into the man he wants to be for you. On the other hand, it can be a red flag, a warning sign that his silence is not about growth, but avoidance. That distinction matters because one leads to progress and the other leaves you stuck in an endless cycle of waiting. A red flag silence is the kind that drags on with no movement. It's the silence that never evolves into clarity, never shifts into action, and never gives you direction. If a man craves you but continually avoids expressing it, that silence tells you he's not willing to risk anything for you. He's comfortable admiring you from a distance or keeping you in his life just enough to feel your presence without stepping up to claim responsibility. This kind of silence is not noble or respectful. It's selfish. It keeps you guessing while he enjoys the benefits of your attention without offering the commitment that craving should inspire. You can usually tell the difference between preparation and avoidance by observing his behavior. A man in preparation is silent, but he's also consistent. He shows up, he puts in effort, and even if he doesn't spill his heart right away, his actions are aligned with someone building towards something real. A man in avoidance, however, is silent but inconsistent. He disappears for days or weeks, reappears just enough to keep you hopeful, then falls back into the same pattern. That cycle isn't growth, it's stalling. It keeps you emotionally invested without ever giving you the security you deserve. The red flag in prolonged silence is that it reveals indecision. A man who truly craves you will not let silence be the only language forever. He may pause to prepare, but eventually he will speak, act, and pursue. If months go by and all you're left with is silence, that craving isn't strong enough to overcome his fear, laziness, or lack of commitment. That's when silence shifts from something temporary to something toxic because it strings you along and makes you question your own worth. Another danger of silence as a red flag is that it can disguise manipulation. Some men know that silence keeps you chasing answers. You begin to overthink, to interpret small gestures, to search for meaning in things that aren't clear. That keeps you emotionally tied to him without him having to do the work of actually showing up. His silence becomes a control mechanism, feeding off your patience and hope. That's why recognizing this pattern early is crucial, so you don't confuse craving with care or silence with depth. The truth is, silence can protect your heart if you read it honestly. It shows you whether his craving is genuine or shallow. If his silence eventually leads to effort, commitment, and consistency, then it was preparation. But if his silence drags on with no change, then it's avoidance. And that silence is a red flag waving loudly in front of you. Ignoring it only costs you time and peace. A man who truly wants you won't hide behind silence forever. He may pause, he may take time, but eventually he will show up with clarity. If he doesn't, then his craving is meaningless. You have to trust what silence reveals, not just what you hope it means. Because the difference between a man preparing and a man avoiding is whether his craving pushes him toward you or leaves you waiting in confusion. One is growth, the other is a trap. You deserve more than being someone's passing thought, more than being admired from a distance, more than being the quiet craving in a man's heart that never turns into anything real. Craving feels flattering at first, but without action, it leaves you empty. A man who only dreams about you but never steps into reality is not giving you love, he's giving you fantasy. And fantasy doesn't protect you, doesn't commit to you, doesn't build a life with you. You deserve someone who doesn't just crave you in silence, but makes his feelings known and backs them up with consistency. Craving is the spark, but commitment is the fire that keeps the relationship alive. Many men confuse the two. They think strong feelings alone should be enough, but feelings without follow-through are meaningless. A man can crave you, admire you, and imagine a future with you, but if he never opens his mouth, never makes a move, never shows up for you, then all you are to him is a beautiful idea. And you are far too valuable to live in someone's imagination. You should be honored in someone's actions, respected in their decisions, and cherished in their presence. The danger of accepting silent craving as enough is that it conditions you to settle. You start telling yourself that maybe his silence means he's shy, or maybe one day he'll speak up, or maybe you just need to wait longer. But waiting for silence to transform into commitment can drain you. Time slips away, and while he's enjoying the comfort of holding on to you without effort, you're sacrificing your own happiness. That's why you must separate craving from commitment. One is temporary desire, the other is long-term devotion. A man who truly values you will not be content with silence forever. Sooner or later, craving will push him into motion. He'll pick up the phone, he'll make the effort, he'll step into your life in a way that shows he's serious. Because when a man really wants you, he understands that silence risks losing you. He knows another man could come along who sees your worth and is bold enough to claim it. Craving may keep him comfortable, but love drives him to act. If he doesn't act, it means his craving is weaker than his fear, his excuses, or his lack of readiness. And you deserve more than weakness. What you deserve is a man who replaces silence with clarity. Someone who tells you what you mean to him, not because you force it out of him, but because his craving for you is too strong to stay bottled up. You deserve someone whose actions match his words, whose pursuit shows he's invested, whose commitment proves he's not just passing time. A real man who craves you will not risk letting you slip away. He will step up because he knows you are worth fighting for. The truth is, love without commitment isn't love at all. It's desire, it's longing, it's a momentary spark. But love that lasts is built on choice. A man who chooses you every day, who commits to showing up even when it's inconvenient, who speaks when it's uncomfortable, and who proves himself through effort. That's the man whose craving means something. Anything less is just noise. You should never let yourself be held hostage by silence. Craving without action is a compliment, but commitment is the real prize. You deserve a man who will turn fantasy into reality, silence into conversation, craving into consistent love. Because at the end of the day, you are not here to be dreamed about. You are here to be loved out loud.